like to call the meeting to order. This is the May 18th, 2021 Rainbow District School Board meeting, regular meeting. Please be advised that this meeting is being live streamed and will be archived. The Rainbow District School Board would like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional and ancestral territory of the Anishinaabe, including Atikameksheng, Anishinaabe, and Wahnapitae nations. We would like to acknowledge that we are situated within the Robinson-Huron Treaty of 1850 and want to recognize the inherent rights of the Anishinaabe that maintain these lands from time immemorial. We'll begin the meeting with the roll call. Director Blazek.
Trustee St. Jean.
Present.
Trustee Gibson.
Present.
Trustee Cosmerly.
Present.
Trustee Morrison.
Present.
Trustee Dewar.
Present.
Trustee Honda.
Present.
Trustee Stringer.
Present.
Trustee Clement.
Present.
Student Trustee LaFrance.
Present.
Thank you very much. Approval of agenda.
One left still.
Sorry.
We have Trustee DeBoski. Okay, Madam Chair, I pass it to you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Approval of agenda. Motion that the agenda of the regular board meeting of May 18th, 2021 be approved as amended. The amendment is the addition of ad hoc selection committee as an item 5 under old business. Item 5 under old business will become ad hoc selection committee. Moved by Trustee Cosmerly, seconded by Trustee Morrison. Poll vote, Director Blazek.
Trustee Clement.
Favor.
Trustee DeBoski. Trustee Dewar.
In favor?
Trustee Gibson.
In favor.
Trustee Honda.
In favor.
Trustee Cosmerly.
In favor.
Trustee Morrison.
In favor.
Trustee St. Jean.
In favor.
Trustee Stringer.
In favor.
Student Trustee LaFrance.
In favor.
Carried.
Motion is carried. Preliminary declarations of pecuniary interest. Presentations. I'd like to call on the Director of Education for the Rainbow District School Board to lead us in acknowledging our 2020 and 2021 board award recipients. Not in the way we would have preferred to acknowledge, but in a safe from danger of COVID-19 way. Director Blazek.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So honoring staff at the annual board award ceremony has become a long-standing tradition for Rainbow District School Board. In fact, if we were not living in the era of COVID-19, we would be gathering together this evening to celebrate. Given that we are unable to do so, we will honor our employees and community partners from a distance. 2020-2021 award recipients will be recognized in a special booklet to be shared at the end of the school year. We are also producing a retirement booklet to honor the 2019, 2020, and the 2020-2021 retirees. This booklet will also be shared at the end of the school year. Now let me introduce our award recipients to you and to the community at large and provide some context on why these awards are so important to us. I think we can all agree that our employees are the board's most important resource for students. And we have many employees who have dedicated their careers in the service of students and schools. Let me begin by honoring employees who have 35 years of service and 25 years of service. In 2020, we had one employee who had the distinction of having served the board for 35 years. Marlene Minette, Administrative Assistant, Mark State Public School. In 2020, our employees with 25 years of service were Brad Bond, Educational Assistant, Manitoulin Secondary School. Trevor Budgel, Maintenance Worker at the Maintenance Shop. Christine Craig, Teacher, Little Current Public School. Lori Green Case, Educational Assistant, Little Current Public School. Tim Lockyer, Teacher, Little Current Public School. Dave Makala, Athletic Administrator, Center for Education. Joseph Mufo, Educational Assistant, LaSalle Secondary School. Daryl Smith, Teacher, Lockerbie Composite School. Let's continue with employees who have achieved 35 years of service and 25 years of service in 2021. We have two employees with 35 years of service in this year. Brendan Johnson, Educational Assistant, McLeod Public School. Sharon Katarincic, Custodian, Northeastern Elementary School. And our employees with 25 years of service are Lisa Corbier-Addison, Teacher, Manitoulin Secondary School. George Gauthier, Manager, Information Services, Center for Education. Carrie Gerhardt, Teacher, Asiganac Public School. Heather Jeffkins, Teacher, Asiganac Public School. Leslie Mantle, Principal, Lively District Secondary School. Karen McGraw, Educational Assistant, Manitoulin Secondary School. Lisa Paquette, Principal, Westmount Avenue Public School. Dan Smith, Teacher, Charles C. McLean Public School. Phil Stevens, Custodian, Little Current Public School. We value our employees and their contribution to Rainbow Schools in various roles. Congratulations to all employees honored this evening on this impressive milestone. Employees with 25 years of service and 35 years of service will receive a suitably inscribed certificate. They will also receive either a silver or gold pin to wear with pride. We now continue with the presentation of the board awards. The individuals being recognized this evening have made a significant contribution to public education in Sudbury, Espanola, and Manitoulin in a number of ways. In the school, in the community, in athletics, in special education, and in education for sustainable development, and as teachers, consultants, system principals, executive assistants, psychometrists, and partners. Tonight, you'll be introduced to individuals who, in their own special way, have had a powerful and positive impact on students in Rainbow Schools, both inside and outside of the classroom. The ways in which our award recipients contribute vary, but they have one thing in common. They are dedicated employees and dynamic educational partners who go above and beyond the call of duty to reach minds and touch hearts in our schools, the communities that we serve, and beyond. We begin with the presentation of awards for outstanding contribution to the co-curricular program. Our award recipients teach values such as fairness, team building, work ethic, discipline, inclusion, perseverance, and respect. Sport has the power to promote values, contributing to the development of responsible citizenship. The recipients of the 2020 Award for Outstanding Contribution to the Co-Curricular Program are Karen Passy, teacher, LaSalle Secondary School. And Kim Chezzy, teacher, Lively District Secondary School. The recipient of the 2021 Award for Outstanding Contribution to the Co-Curricular Program is Sherry Green, Program Leader, Sports and Physical Education, Llewellyn Park Secondary School. Recipients of the award for outstanding contribution to the co-curricular program will receive a suitably inscribed scroll. We continue with the presentation of Community Partnership Awards. Here are some of the qualities the award represents. Sound humanitarian skills, dedicated to a child's overall education, a strong belief in the intrinsic value of volunteer work, the ability to influence students for the good. The recipients of the 2020 Community Partnerships Award are the Canadian Federation of University Women, who, through their Adopt a Family Community Outreach Program donations, provide toiletries and food vouchers for families. And Adanac Ski Club, which provides equipment, timing gear, expertise in course setting, and volunteer help that make local school alpine ski and snowboard races possible. And the recipients for the 2021 Community Partnership Award are Wendy LaRouche, Resource Facilitator and Community Outreach from the Learning Disabilities Association of Sudbury. St. Peter's United Church for their support of Sudbury Secondary School. And finally, Dr. Tara Barron, a local pediatrician who hosts clinics at Princess Anne Public School and Chelmsford Valley District Composite School. Recipients of the Community Partnership Award will receive a suitably inscribed scroll. I'm now pleased to continue with the presentation of the Go Green Global Award recipients. The Go Green Global Award recognizes significant contributions to sustainability. The recipient schools for the 2021 Go Green Global Awards are Valley View Public School and Manitoulin Secondary School. Recipients of the Go Green Global Award will have the privilege of displaying this suitably inscribed trophy at their school. And we continue with the presentations of awards for excellence. Qualities that Award for Excellence recipients represent include enthusiastic, motivational, uplifting, cooperative, positive, reliable, conscientious, dedicated, knowledgeable, progressive, and caring. The recipients of the 2020 Award for Excellence are Richard Duffy, Intermediate Numeracy Consultant, 7 and 8, at the Center for Education. Henry Gerard, Teacher, Espanola High School. Jennifer LeBlanc, Teacher, Marks Day Public School. Heather Gaffney, Principal of Student Success in O'Connor Park, Center for Education. Recipients of the 2021 Award for Excellence are Lori Leger, Teacher, Sudbury Secondary School. Leslie McClellan, Psychometrist, Center for Education. Catherine Bell, Teacher, Princess Anne Public School. Heather Thurko, Executive Assistant to the Director of Education, Center for Education. Recipients of the Award for Excellence will receive a suitably inscribed scroll. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the recipients of the Barbara Kanarick Memorial Award. It is a great honor to present this award in memory of Barbara Kanarick, who was a highly respected special education consultant with the board. The award is presented to a deserving educator or member of the support staff who has made a significant humanitarian contribution to the life of a student or group of students. The recipient of the 2020 Barbara Kanarick Memorial Award is Carol Burke, Intensive Support Teacher, Redwood Acres Public School. And The recipient of the 2021 Barbara Canarick Memorial Award is Lisa Scarf, Intensive Support Teacher, Jean Hansen, Public School. Recipients of the Barbara Canarick Memorial Award will receive a suitably inscribed scroll and book. And we end this evening with the presentation of the 2020 and 2021 William N. Roman Teacher of the Year Award. William N. Roman was a highly respected superintendent with the board. In the past, the award was presented by Olga Roman and members of the Roman family, and they did it with great pride. I know they are with us in spirit this evening as I announce our esteemed award recipients who represent the qualities we hold dear in a Teacher of the Year. Excellent teaching habits, commitment to professional learning, belief in the self-worth and innate curiosity and learning potential of all students, ability to create a caring, nurturing, and learning environment where students can become risk takers, committed, dedicated, enthusiastic, and innovative, teachers who inspire a love of learning in students of all abilities. The recipient of the 2020 William N. Roman Teacher of the Year Award is Darren Foy, teacher, Algonquin Road Public School. And the recipient of the 2021 William N. Roman Teacher of the Year Award is Sabrina Briscoe, teacher, Chelmsford Valley District Composite School. The William N. Roman Teachers of the Year will receive a suitably inscribed award. And this brings our presentation of award recipients to a close. On behalf of Chair Dewar and the Board of Trustees, your Director of Education, and members of Executive Council, I would like to congratulate all of our award recipients. We look forward to celebrating their accomplishments with you, our family of schools, and of course with our school communities when we release our award tributes at the end of the school year. Until then, I would like to end with a final word to all award recipients. Be proud of your accomplishments. We are certainly very proud of you, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Blazik. However, before we end these very special awards, acknowledgements, there is one more award for excellence to present this evening. Excuse me. The recipient of a 2021 Award for Excellence is Norm Blazik, Director of Education, Center for Education. Excuse me. This award recognizes the culmination of Norm Blazik's more than 30 years with the board in the various roles of progressive responsibility that he has held, always in the service of students. Congratulations, Norm. Now, our audience can't see, but everyone was applauding, and we are very proud of this, of all of the recipients. This is a very unusual way to acknowledge, but we hold each and every one of you near and dear, and we thank you for all you've done, every single recipient. Report from the in-camera committee of the whole meeting of the board. There was no meeting, and therefore there's no report. Old business, previous minutes, that the minutes of the regular board meeting held on Tuesday, April the 20th, 2021, be approved. Moved by Trustee Clement, seconded by Trustee Stringer. Poll vote, Director Blazik.
Trustee Clement.
In favor.
Trustee Dubosky.
In favor.
Trustee Dewar.
In favor.
Trustee Gibson.
In favor.
Trustee Honda.
In favor.
Trustee Cosmerly.
In favor.
Trustee Morrison.
In favor.
Trustee St. Jean.
In favor.
Trustee Stringer.
In favor.
Student trustee LaFrance.
In favor.
Carried unanimous.
Motion is carried. Next item, the 2020-2021 school year update. Director Blazik.
I'm distracted. Trustees, I appreciate this opportunity to provide an update on the 2020-2021 school year. We are still in the gray zone as we begin our update. Students have been learning remotely since March 15, 2021. The province-wide stay-at-home order implemented on April 8, 2021 remains in effect. Over the weeks, we have seen a gradual decline in confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Sudbury, Espanola, and Manitoulin. The provincial stay-at-home order is also having the desired impact. Let's take a look at the local data as reported by Public Health Sudbury districts. From Thursday, April 15th to Wednesday, April 21st, there were 95 new cases and 12 active outbreaks. 55 new cases tested positive for COVID-19 variant of concern, which is 58% of the cases reported in this period. At the end of day, April 21st, there were 149 active cases and a total of 1,868 local cases since the pandemic began. A total of 671 have screened positive for a COVID-19 variant of concern. Trustees passed the motion at the board meeting held on April the 20th, 2021, that the Rainbow District School Board write a letter to Premier Ford and the Minister of Education with copies to Public Health Sudbury and districts, federations, OPSPA member boards, Minister of Health, and opposition parties requesting all education sector workers receive a COVID vaccine on a priority basis. The letter was sent on behalf of the board on April 26th. Chair Doreen Dewar respectfully requested that education workers receive their first and second doses of vaccine by mid-August 2021, recognizing, of course, that the intervals between doses will need to be shortened. She added, vaccinations, along with the many health and safety measures that have been implemented to date, will ensure that students and staff can resume in-person learning with more confidence and fewer interruptions. We believe that the return to normalcy in this province is dependent on the return to normalcy in the education of our children. From Thursday, April 22nd to Wednesday, April 28th, there were 53 new cases and 10 active outbreaks. 36 new cases tested positive for a COVID-19 variant of concern, which is 68% of the cases reported in this period. At the end of day, April 28th, there were 81 active cases and a total of 1,921 local cases since the pandemic began. A total of 780 have screened positive for COVID-19 variant of concern. From Thursday, April 29th to Wednesday, May 5th, there were 66 new cases and 7 active outbreaks. 42 new cases tested positive for a COVID-19 variant of concern, which is 64% of the cases reported in this period. At the end of day, May 5th, there were 90 active cases and a total of 1,987 local cases since the pandemic began. A total of 822 have screened positive for a COVID-19 variant of concern. Secondary music teachers in Rainbow schools came up with an innovative way to celebrate Music Monday. LaSalle Secondary School, Lockerbie Composite School, Manitoulin Secondary School, and Sudbury Secondary School joined forces to create a gigantic multi-track recording of a piece called Through the Eye of the Storm by Canadian composer Ryan Mibor. Megan Sanderson, Mike Jensen, Chris Thesmeyer, and Mitch McIntyre recorded a series of guide tracks for their music students to follow, and with each educator playing their instrument of choice. Students were invited to add their versions to the master recording. Mike Jensen of Lockerbie Composite Schools said the project teaches recording techniques while keeping the spirit of the band alive through music making. Music teachers in Rainbow schools have been collaborating extensively since the pandemic began and schools shifted to remote learning. That collaboration led to this project, which was released in its final form on Music Monday. Through the Eye of the Storm is relevant for the times. It's a celebration of our collective resilience as a community. Let's have a listen. Rainbow Schools also celebrated Education Week from May 3rd to 7th, 2021. This year's theme, Stronger Together, builds on last year's theme, Rising to the Challenge. Once again, it's a tribute to our collective resilience as we continue teaching and learning amidst the backdrop of a global pandemic. I'm so proud of our staff and students and families that have persevered during a school year unlike any other. On Monday, May 3rd, the Minister of Education advised school boards that education staff could book appointments for vaccines as of Thursday, May 6th. Those eligible include any school board staff or student transportation partner who typically work in person in elementary and secondary schools. Examples include educators, custodial staff, administrative staff, and school bus drivers. Public Health, Sudbury districts provided information on how to book appointments, and we began working on our communications. On Wednesday, May 5th, we sent a letter to all education staff inviting them to book their vaccine appointment as of Thursday, May the 6th, 2021 at 8 a.m. We shared the online and phone booking information provided by Public Health Sudbury districts, as well as resources on vaccines. This was welcome news. given the recent letter sent by Chair Dewar on behalf of the Board of Trustees. That letter, as you know, advocated for shorter intervals between first and second doses to ensure that all education workers were fully immunized by the start of the 2021-22 school year. We'll continue to advocate for this at every opportunity. A similar message was sent to the consortium for sharing with school bus drivers. School bus drivers are important partners in education. Rainbow District School Board will continue with previously scheduled designated exam days and with the 30% final evaluation for the second semester. With the end of the school year quickly approaching, we've advised secondary schools that culminating tasks will take the place of exams. This is intended to support the mental health and well-being of our students who continue to live and learn amidst a global pandemic. On Tuesday, May 4th, the Minister of Education held a news conference to release the GSNs, or Grants for Student Needs, and the plan for the 2021-2022 school year. You'll hear more about the GSNs in the weeks to come when we present the 2021-2022 budget. A few highlights. The Ontario government is supporting learning recovery and renewal to address the effects of learning disruptions as a result of COVID-19. Investments will support reading and math for young learners, student re-engagement, and a special emphasis will be on mental health and well-being. Learning recovery and renewal measures will include partnering with School Mental Health Ontario to support educators and enable timely interventions, additional teaching resources including math leads and coaches, and summer learning and special education supports. Resources will also be available to support ongoing health and safety measures, including personal protective equipment, otherwise known as PPE, and cleaning supplies for school boards, enhanced cleaning protocols of all schools and school buses, and additional staffing to support cleaning. The Ministry of Education will continue to work closely with the Ministry of Health and the Chief Medical Officer of Health. In addition to consultations with the Hospital for Sick Children and other pediatric institutes to confirm the final health and safety strategies required for the upcoming school year. We expect to receive this guidance at the end of July, like we did last year. This will include updated requirements such as masking, hand hygiene, and screening, as well as other public health protocols to ensure schools remain safe. The intention is to deliver a learning experience as safe and normal as possible, including planning for physical education and extracurricular activities. For the 21-22 school year, school boards will continue to be required to offer synchronous remote learning options as identified in PPM 164. School boards have been asked to delay our survey for parents regarding in-person or remote learning to June 1st, 2021 at the earliest. As you know, we held off on surveying our families until closer to the start of the coming school year, so we have the most current data possible for planning purposes. There are exciting developments on the horizon for our students and families where vaccines are concerned. This will also have an impact on the decision parents make about in-person learning. School boards have been asked to plan for full in-person learning in the coming school year in both elementary and secondary schools, with ongoing health and safety protocols. Elementary students will continue to be cohorted with their classmates and their homeroom teacher. In secondary schools, cohorting must be maintained as much as possible to limit the number of student-to-student contacts and facilitate contact tracing. School boards will be required to limit schedules to 2 in-person classes like we did this year. School boards are also asked to have plans in place to pivot to other modes of delivery if necessary. As mentioned previously, full guidance on the 2021-2022 health and safety measures will be communicated to school boards this summer. This will include guidance on requirements such as masking, hand hygiene, screening, and cohorting for clubs and other extracurricular activities. Secondary students are required to earn 40 hours of community involvement to graduate. In 2021-2022, the required number of hours has been reduced from 40 to a minimum of 20 hours for graduating students. This is consistent with the current school year. 40 hours of community service will be restored as of the 2022-2023 school year. Students will require the full 40 hours to graduate in June 2023. This is important information for students so they can plan ahead. At the principal's discretion, the following activities will be deemed eligible for all secondary students for the community involvement activities in the 2021-22 school year. They include activities that take place during the time allotted for the instructional program on a school day. For example, walking a younger neighbor or a sibling to and from school, and helping younger siblings with their homework. Activities that include up to 10 hours of paid work with the requirement to complete a reflection exercise indicating how their work contributed to service of others. For example, grocery work during the pandemic. Activities that consist of duties normally performed in the home. For example, students could help an elderly relative with errands or provide after-school care for a sibling. Since March of 2020, students have experienced disruptions to learning like never before. Naturally, we are concerned about students who have gaps in learning and those who have disengaged. We are pleased that the Ministry of Education is providing supports for learning recovery and renewal. It will include a focus on student mental health and well-being, early reading and math, re-engaging students, special education, and educator readiness, including professional learning communities and opportunities to share best practices. Students graduating in the 21-22 school year will be exempt from the literacy graduation requirement, which is what occurred this year. EQAO will provide a fall 2021 administration of the Ontario Secondary School Literacy Test in addition to a spring 2022 administration. The literacy graduation requirement will be restored for students graduating in the 2022-23 school year. Students in grade 10 and 11 and non-graduating students in the coming school year, including those who are learning remotely, will be required to work towards the literacy graduation requirement by participating in the Ontario Secondary School Literacy Test, adjudication, or the Ontario Secondary School Literacy course. As you know, it was our intent to offer in-person learners the option to write the literacy test this year to give students as many opportunities as possible to meet this graduation requirement. The extension of the stay-at-home order did not allow for the preparation and administration of the OSSLT by the deadline. In the current school year, EQAO assessments for grades 3 and 6 were paused, while EQAO aligned assessments with the new elementary math curriculum and transitioned to a new online adaptive platform. Rainbow District School Board participated in field tests that were provided for the new online grade 9 math assessment. In 21-22, regular EQAO assessments will resume with the following adjustments. All students in grades 3 and 6 attending in-person learning will participate in the online EQAO math, reading, and writing assessments. All students enrolled in grade 9 math attending learning in person will write the grade 9 math assessment. Results of this assessment may count towards up to 10% of the student's final mark. Where applicable, students will continue to receive individual reports. In the current school year, the ministry provided guidance to school boards regarding the formalized substitution process for students to earn the specialist high skills major qualifications. The same considerations will be extended to students graduating in the 21-22 school year. The requirements for offering cooperative education courses, including the classroom and community placement components, remain in effect. Cooperative education placements should be offered virtually where feasible. In-person community placements may be considered as long as health and safety requirements can be respected. Information on children's developmental health and well-being prior to grade 1 is collected throughout the province using the Early Development Instrument, otherwise known as EDI. The EDI is a questionnaire that teachers complete about the skills and abilities of students in year 2 of kindergarten. It measures developmental health and well-being across 5 domains: physical health and well-being, social competence, emotional maturity, language and cognitive development, communication skills, and general knowledge. The EDI is collected across the province in 3-year cycles. In the previous school year, the 6th edition of the EDI was postponed. The EDI will be implemented in the winter of 2022 in all kindergarten classes in Ontario. The Ministry of Education has directed the following topics to be covered as part of the professional learning days in the 21-22 school year: health and safety protocols, mental health and well-being, learning recovery and intervention strategies, mathematics, including the elementary math curriculum and grade 9 D-stream math course, anti-racism, anti-discrimination training, instructional approaches to online and remote learning, anti-sex trafficking and anti-bullying, including cyberbullying. To ensure readiness for the 21-22 school year, we will address the following topics prior to the start of the school: health and safety protocols, mental health and well-being, and learning recovery and intervention strategies. In 2020, the Ministry of Education amended Ontario Regulation 463/97, the electronic meetings and meeting attendance, and under the Education Act to waive the requirement for school board trustees to attend meetings in person until November 30th, 2021. To continue to support the ongoing operation of school boards in the upcoming year, the ministry is recommending regulatory amendments that, if approved, would extend the ability for trustees to continue meeting by entirely electronic means until November 14, 2022, or the end of the current term of office for trustees. The Ministry of Education has partnered with Shoppers Drug Mart to limit the spread of COVID-19 through surveillance testing. Select Ontario locations are offering COVID-19 rapid antigen screening. Information can be accessed from the board website. We invite our families to call to book an appointment today, and it's important to note that availability varies by location. The pandemic has inspired our educators to look for new opportunities to engage students through technology. On Thursday, May 13th, a grade 4 class in Rainbow District School Board's virtual elementary school was one of 7 from around the world selected to participate in an Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants live stream with Dr. Jane Goodall. A renowned scientist, Dr. Goodall braved the land of unknowns for a glimpse into the world of humanity's closest living relatives. It was the perfect fit for teacher Robert Dunn students who are currently studying life systems in science. The event is now available on the Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants YouTube channel. While hundreds were able to watch the live stream, only a few classes were selected to participate live, which made this experience an exciting learning opportunity for students. On June 2nd, parents and guardians are invited to learn from Kevin J. Cameron, the expert who led the crisis response following the 1999 school shooting in Taber, Alberta, just 8 days after the Columbine school shooting. Kevin Cameron will deliver a special presentation of schools and community safety supported by the Community Threat Assessment Protocol on Wednesday, June 2nd at 6:30. Close to 100 various agencies across the province are applying the Multi-Agency Violent Threat Risk Assessment, otherwise known as VITRA model, to address all forms of violence. A Community Threat Assessment Protocol has been in place locally since 2011. The VITRA Steering Committee is hosting the event online via Zoom. Parents in Rainbow schools are encouraged to participate. Kevin Cameron is an engaging speaker who is not to be missed. From Thursday, May 6th to Wednesday, May 12th, there were 47 new cases and 5 active outbreaks. 27 new cases tested positive for COVID-19 variant of concern, which is 57% of the cases reported in this period. At the end of day, May 12th, there were 84 active cases and a total of 2,033 local cases since the pandemic began. A total of 871 have screened positive for a COVID-19 variant of concern. The decline in new case counts is encouraging. As vaccines go up, case counts should continue to go down, which will put us in good stead as we look ahead to the start of a new school year. Premier Ford held a news conference on Thursday, May 13th. The stay-at-home order has been extended until at least June 2nd. All public health and workplace safety measures under the province-wide emergency break remain in effect. Remote learning continues until further notice. While confirmed cases of COVID-19 are slowly coming down across Ontario, it is too soon to let up on any health and safety measures. We must remain vigilant to limit the spread. The Premier also announced that beginning the week of May 31st, young people from 12 to 17 years of age and their family members will be eligible to book an appointment to receive their first dose of the Pfizer vaccine, which has now been approved for this age group. There will be dedicated clinics throughout the weeks of June 14th and 21st, a 2-week block. We received additional details in a teleconference with the Deputy Minister later in the afternoon. It is the province's intent to have all grades 7 to 12 students fully vaccinated by the start of the school year. That means second doses will be administered in August. With this good news for students, families, and schools, planning began. At 8 a.m. on Friday, May 14th, school boards met with Public Health Sudbury District to consider logistics and start to map out our next steps. We talked about clinics, communications, and consent. We also reviewed existing infrastructure to facilitate mass vaccinations, from community clinics to possible pop-up clinics in schools, to transportation services to and from these sites. A follow-up meeting was held on Monday, May 17th with Public Health Sudbury Districts, and later in the day with officials from the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education. We'll be working hand in hand with our public health partners to encourage all students ages 12 and up and their family members who have not yet done so to book appointments and get their vaccine. Resources will be provided to support vaccine education and decision-making. This will get us one huge step closer to returning to normalcy. This past Sunday, May 16th, 2021, was the very first World Education Support Personnel Day. It was an opportune time to acknowledge our support staff and teachers who make Rainbow Schools great places to learn. Thank you for dedication, commitment, care, and resilience. Thank you for being exceptional role models for student success. Chair Dewar joined me in asking all staff to take a moment to reflect on their contributions and celebrate each other. And starting today, May 18th, 2021, individuals 18 years of age and older are eligible to book an appointment to receive their vaccine. There is still no word on second doses being moved up for education workers. But, as I said previously, we continue to advocate for this to happen and remain confident. In fact, this past weekend, Public Health Sudbury Districts announced that some second doses are now being offered for specific groups. Last week ended on an optimistic note. I could truly see a rainbow on the horizon, and this bodes well for the start of the new school year. And this brings this evening's update to a close. I would be pleased to answer any questions that you may have.
Once again, I thank you so much, Director Blazik. The floor is open for any questions, comments. I'm going to try to catch the names and numbers. So I see Anita Gibson and Dina Morrison. Anita?
Thank you, Chair Dewar. Through you to Director Blazeg or the superintendents. I was just wondering if there's any further information regarding the grade 9D streaming. Do we have an idea of what the curriculum will look like? Is it a mixture of applied academic or more of one than the other? I'm just looking for some more information there. Thank you.
It's a great question, and it's one we've asked the minister and the deputy minister, I think, for the last 6 to 8 weeks. They have yet to share that information with us. And as soon as we do, but trust me, we will get that out ASAP. I think it's unrealistic that if we're given the information too late in the day, that it would become extremely challenging to provide the PD that's necessary for our staff going forward. So we anticipate something very soon. We've been told that time and time again. So I share that angst that you have, Trustee Gibson. So I appreciate the question, and we certainly bring it forward every week to the minister.
Thank you very much. I agree that's a very concerning timeline in terms of designing course content, etc. So I hope we hear something very soon. That's a little disappointing on behalf of the ministry. Thank you.
Trustee Morrison.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, to Director Blazek. Director Blazek, just wondering what the discussion has been and what the thinking is as of now on the whole issue of proof of vaccination and how we're going to deal with all of that, and both for staff and students re-entering, hopefully, to a regular in-person learning in the fall. Are we going to require proof of vaccination? Is it going to be part of the regular vaccination program that we already know we have some kids who are behind on their vaccinations? So I'm just wondering how the COVID vaccination would fit into that in the school systems. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Trustee Morrison. I will tell you that this question was raised yesterday with the Ministry of Health and with the Ministry of Education. They have yet to indicate what their preference would be, although they were inclined to lead us to believe that there would not be a compulsory piece, but they are studying it. So that is something that still remains to be sorted out. So it'll be interesting to see where we fall, because you're right. Come September, we may or may not know who has been vaccinated or not.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Once again, Director Blazek, I thank you for all of that information and for such a thorough update. Tenders, requests for proposals, there are none. Reports and recommendation for board committees. We have our special education plan, and I'm going to call once more on Director Blazek to introduce the presenters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Like we do on an annual basis, when we look to the special education staffing, we look to our Superintendent of Special Education, Kathy Wachnock, and her team, and Kathy will be leading us off. Kathy?
Good evening, everyone. I'm pleased to present to you the special education plan for the 2021-2022 school year. I am happy to answer any questions you may have at the end of the presentation. A review of special education programs and services is conducted on an annual basis. The SEAC committee, along with principals, special education staff, and parents, were invited to participate in the annual review. This year, we received 259 responses, and this is a 104% increase in responses received from last school year. This input is reflected in the 2021-2022 special education budget. The special education budget reflects programs and services for 1,456 elementary and 1,010 secondary exceptional pupils. We currently have 42 students in section programs funded by the ministry, which represents a total of 2,508 students designated with an exceptionality in Rainbow District School Board. The special education budget amendments are reflected in the 2021-2022 special education plan. Special education teams in schools include resource teachers, intensive support program teachers, special education program leaders at the secondary level, Section 23 teachers, and educational assistants. The special education team at the system level consists of 4 elementary consultants, 2 grade 7 to 12 coordinators, and 1 kindergarten to 12 coordinator. There are 12 itinerant teachers who support students in both panels. In addition, there are 5 psychology staff, 6 speech and language pathologists, and 6 communication disorder assistants. We have a special needs training and program officer, 2 board-certified behavior analysts, and 8 itinerant ABA, applied behavior analyst, teachers, who work closely with our students with autism and with social emotional needs. Last year, we added a position of a BCABA, a board-certified assistant behavior analyst. The BCABA is responsible for the supervision of registered behavior technicians. There are 11 social workers, 1 mental health lead, and 1 system principal who support both our elementary and secondary schools. Please refer to your board report. A total of 174 full-time equivalent special education teachers have been allocated for 2021-2022. This number represents an increase of 11 teachers from 2020-2021 and includes 81 resource teachers and 70 intensive support program teachers, 12 itinerant teachers, and 11 Section 23 teachers. A total of 191 full-time equivalent educational assistants have been allocated for 2021-2022. This includes educational assistants assigned to section classrooms. Due to a large increase in preschool transition meetings held for students arriving in September who have significant needs and are connected with our community partner agencies, 4.5 intensive support classrooms have been added. These intensive support program classrooms are additional at Redwood Acres, Princess Anne, A.B. Ellis, Llewellyn Park, and Espanola High School. The following is a list of Section 23 programs Rainbow offers in partnership with a variety of community organizations. The staff employed in the section programs are, for the most part, funded through the Ministry of Education. At the May 5th meeting, the SEAC committee approved the following recommendation: that the special education plan for 2021-2022, as recommended by the Special Education Advisory Committee, SEAC, be approved. Thank you. This concludes my presentation. I am happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I see Trustee Gibson and Trustee Morrison and Trustee Stringer. Trustee Gibson.
Thank you, Chair Dewar. Through to Superintendent Wetschnuck. Thank you very much for your report, Superintendent. I just had 2 questions. The first one is with regard to the survey responses. I think you said it was an increase of 104% from last year. I was just wondering, is that a one-off? Was it particularly low last year, or what do you attribute that to, I guess?
Through you, Madam Chair. Trustee Gibson, that's a very good question. I don't know exactly why we've seen this big of an increase in our responses. I can tell you that last year it was a little delayed with regards to our survey going out because of the sudden stop in face-to-face learning. However, last year's numbers were not a significant decrease from past years. It was a little bit of a decrease, but not a significant one. This school year, there seems to be a significant increase, obviously at 104%. I don't know why, other than the fact that our schools do a great job in promoting that the survey be answered and sent back in. I don't know, a couple of my initial thoughts were that maybe perhaps parents who are more used to the online component, principals were able to send the reminder to them, and they're always able to complete that survey online. Well, they have been for a number of years now, but perhaps because that online activity has increased, maybe it helped in getting parents to respond to that survey more so than in past years. I can tell you that the responses are not significant with regards to the comments. There are always a few that we get that we look into with the school and figure out a better way of providing supports and services to that child, and is there a better way? But for the most part, they're positive comments, asking us to continue with what we have in place for their children.
Thank you very much. I can certainly agree with the reminder portion. I know as a parent, with so many things going, it's always welcome to get a reminder. I certainly don't mind getting them, that helps, a reminder of a deadline a week out. So keep doing that. That's an awesome response that you've got there. It's always good to get feedback. And like you said, a lot of it's positive. And I think, that really helps the staff and yourself to know that you're definitely on the right track. And my second question was about another significant increase. I think you mentioned in the interviewing process for students coming into the board, and then you mentioned that we have an increase of 4.5 intensive support classrooms. And once again, is that unusual? Is that a population blip? Or I'm just wondering if you could give a bit of context around that as well. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair, another great question, Trustee Gibson. We have been faced with a unique challenge this year in the sense that preschool transition meetings for students with significant needs who have been receiving services through our community partners are always scheduled with school boards of choice from the family early on in the spring, so that school boards can plan for the supports to be in place for those children come the fall. One of the differences that has occurred this school year is that one of our coterminous boards made a decision to close some of their intensive support programs. And as a result, we do have some parents who feel very strongly that their child requires this kind of support, have then decided to schedule with the preschool transition meeting with Rainbow. We have also received several calls from these parents who have, although they sat down for transition meetings with another school board, have since felt that it was necessary to inquire with us with regards to what we could offer. It is 4.5 additional intensive support programs, in a sense, is significant, considering that we made a decision several years ago to move towards an inclusion model. And we closed several intensive support programs in our efforts to build the inclusion model, which, by the way, has been very successful. Having said this, we continue to measure, the ability for certain students to be in a regular program with support, and students who we feel would not only benefit, but I guess achieve their potential more readily in an intensive support classroom where they have a smaller class size and more adults supporting them, depending, of course, on what their exceptionality is. We don't typically have Students come into our intensive support programs until the age of grade 3, because it isn't until the age of grade 3 that they can be tested. However, for certain exceptionalities, like autism, for instance, when students come from our community partners in a preschool manner, we do, at times, depending on their needs, place them in intensive support classrooms prior to that 8 years old level. So I don't know if that answers your question. I guess the other thing that might be important to mention too is that our kindergarten classrooms, continue to have the challenges that they have with the number of students and with the number of challenges. We have many students who come from situations where they haven't been exposed to maybe perhaps daycare environments or what have you, and they just need a little bit more extra attention and extra care to get used to routines than maybe some other students do. And so it hasn't been unusual for Rainbow District School Board to have to increase supports in our kindergarten level, especially at the beginning of the school year, while our staff is getting to know the kids.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Trustee Morrison?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you again, Superintendent Wachnick. Superintendent Wachnick, I'd like to humbly suggest that COVID has also had an impact on the increase in numbers. We see anxiety, stress, mental health issues, family crises increasing during this period. And we all know, just based on the enrollment this year into our early year learning year 1, year 2, that we, like many boards across the province, did not get the kindergarten students enrolled this last year. They didn't attend in person as they had been planning on the previous spring. So I guess my question to you, Kathy, is I see some pent-up need here. And the disengagement in the last year has not helped the situation. And I'm just wondering if you could perhaps give a little more information about the kind of preparatory work you're doing, the Spec Ed staff is doing to welcome these new students, hopefully this September.
Through you, Madam Chair. Great question, Trustee Morrison. Not unlike last school year, the Ministry of Education has allocated dollars to school boards to facilitate transitions back to school, especially for our students who are the most vulnerable. So we're working hard with our schools to come up with a plan that would work the best and benefit our students the most. Having said that, we do need to plan for both situations because we still are in the pandemic, so we can't, although we're very optimistic that by the fall things will be much better, we are planning for both scenarios. Having said that, we are making a few adjustments that are maybe a little different and lessons learned from last summer. And I'll give you an example. We did offer a transition back to school programs for the last 2 weeks in August for students who we felt could benefit, as well as students who were interested, families who were interested. One of the things that we did recognize after running that program last school year was that families weren't all that interested in sending their child back early in August to a school that they then don't attend come September. So although it was to ease the transition back to school, some parents didn't feel that there was a lot of benefit in sending their child to school A for that 2-week program in August when they actually attend school B. And so we've taken this and we've applied it to our plans for this summer, where we're going to try our best to offer it in the child's school and with the child's staff as much as possible to maintain that consistency. So it may not always be possible that it will be their teacher come September, but we are doing the best to try to staff it with teachers and educational assistants that would be familiar to them, that would belong to their school, and hopefully even work with them.
Trustee Morrison, supplementary.
Supplementary, very brief. Thank you, Superintendent Wachnick. I appreciate, I'm sure we all do appreciate all the work you're doing to try to prepare really for a fall that we still don't know for sure what it's going to look like. So thank you. And I guess my concern is just as double the work, because I'm seeing us in terms of new entrants. This is my language, a double cohort basically entering the system in the fall. So I'm quite concerned about the needs, the unmet needs that have been out there, and the demand on our existing staff. But I thank you for your leadership and all the spec ed staff at all levels, Kathy. And I thank the Special Ed Advisory Committee for the recommendation, and I will be supporting approval of the budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee Stringer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Superintendent Washnick. A number of questions I had have already been answered. However, just a couple more things. First of all, special ed surveys, wonderful to see that you're getting that sort of feedback. Hopefully that can be maintained in future years. I'm wondering two things. So our board is the board of choice for children with special needs coming back after the year that we've had, and obviously that's why we are growing these programs. Do you have a sense that those families will be sending their siblings as well? That we will be enjoying the family as a whole, or is it not look that way? That's my first question.
Through you, Madam Chair. We do want the entire family in our school. We want to be obviously the board of choice, and when parents call us to want to register their children, whether they have special needs or not, we always want all of the siblings. Having said that, there is a statement in the Education Act that alludes to when students are at the in the elementary panel, they do need to belong to one board for the most part. Those aren't the exact, that's not the exact statement in the Ed Act. And at the high school level, it's a little bit different. It's open and it's choice. And so we always ask parents who call whether they have other children and where those children attend, and whether they would be interested in coming over to our Rainbow Schools as well.
Thank you. And supplementary, Madam Chair. Superintendent Washnick, so as we're seeing an increase in our ISP classes and increase in kindergarten children, I have the same concern as Trustee Morrison, having a double entry of kindergarten children this fall. Do you see potentially the need for increasing speech language pathologist positions as we have more children, with even considering the ramifications of what's happened this year and, you know, delays? Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Trustee Stringer. Not unlike any other year, we always staff with the numbers that we have for the fall. And for the most part, that allows us to have the supports and services in place come fall for the students that require those supports and services. However, we've been fortunate as a school board to have the dollars in special education and a carry forward that we can count on should there be any surprises or any anything that we perhaps didn't anticipate happening for the fall, that we can draw upon those reserves to put the staff in place that are needed to ensure that all of those kids have the supports that they require.
Wonderful. Thank you, Superintendent Washnick.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Okay. Trustee Morrison and then Trustee Hunda. Or maybe I should do it the other way around. Trustee Hunda and then Trustee Morrison, please. Trustee Hunda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to Superintendent Washnick. I just want to add my voice of appreciation. You know that one of, I believe, the strongest things and one of the things I'm most proud of with our board is our special education programs, and certainly our understanding of trying to help every student be successful, but none of that's possible without the staff like yourself and all that are working under you. I just, you don't get enough of an opportunity to thank you all for all that you do. Kathy, you know that I'm familiar with the system. I'm walking through it, have been for quite some time, and I am such a major fan of what we do and the staff that we have. And I'm a little concerned. They've got some major undertakings coming up, but they sound wonderful. And I am so appreciative of what you do. I'm very thankful so far that the funding looks like it's continuing to be able to support the programs we have in place. I know that you will certainly keep us updated if it isn't. And I also want to thank SEAC, which I was a member of for many, many years. And they do help us in ways of being able to speak in terms of the members of their each exceptionality community, I guess is the way to put it. But would you please pass on to your staff my personal appreciation of all they do. And from me to you, Kathy, thank you. Honestly, thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you, Trustee Hunda, and I will make sure to pass that along. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Trustee Morrison.
I promise to keep it brief since you've given me a second opportunity to ask questions. Thank you, Chair Dewar. Through you again to Superintendent Washnick. Trustee Stringer brought up something that reminded me of something, so I wanted to bring it up. I'm sure all of us, I'm sure, have had experience dealing with families who are calling us and asking for assistance to get transfers of their children from another board into our schools, primarily for special ed supports. And I've certainly dealt with the exact issue that Margaret has specifically mentioned, which was I have 4 kids, 2 of them are identified. I want those 2 kids with you, and the 2 kids will stay with the other board. And that's enough. But the most recent development, and that's what Margaret reminded me of, is I've actually had calls in the last 2 months where parents from other boards were looking for my assistance and helping them transfer into a Rainbow School for mental health supports. So Mary Jago and our team of social workers, the wonderful work they're doing, there's not enough of them. There's never going to be because the need is enormous. But the wonderful work they're doing is certainly getting out to the community. We know it is to parents and to agencies. So I am now getting calls from parents asking to transfer into Rainbow because of the mental health supports. So I just wanted to say that for the record. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have a motion that the Special Education Plan 2021-2022 as recommended by the Special Education Advisory Committee, or SEAC, be approved. Moved by Trustee Cosmerly, seconded by Trustee Gibson. Director Blazek.
Trustee Clement,
In favor?
Trustee Dubosky,
In favor.
Trustee Dewar,
In favor.
Trustee Gibson,
In favor.
Trustee Hunda,
In favor?
Trustee Cosmerly,
In favor.
Trustee Morrison,
In favor?
Trustee St. Jean,
In favor.
Trustee Stringer,
In favor.
Student Trustee LaFrance,
In favor.
unanimous, carried.
Thank you very much. And before we move on, I want to pass along special thank you to Superintendent Wachnick for everything you do, for your leadership. And no program is going to thrive without the leadership that you present. And I want you to pass on our sincere thank you to the many staff who have, in these difficult times, gone above and beyond for every one of our students. And of course, lastly but not least, I want you to pass on our sincere appreciation to SEAC. So thank you very much. The next item is our additional item that was added to the agenda, and that is ad hoc selection committee. And the ad hoc selection committee is the committee that is working as the selection committee for our director. I think everyone knows by now that Director Blazek is retiring, and so there is a policy that directs us, or that is a guide for what happens in that case. And this is the motion that comes from that committee. Motion that the board establish an ad hoc selection committee composed of all trustees except the student trustee, chaired by the chair of the board, to exist until the process of choosing a director of education is complete. Moved by Trustee Morrison, seconded by Trustee Stringer. Do I have any questions or comments? I will call the question. Director Blazek, poll vote.
Trustee Clement,
In favor.
Trustee Dubosky,
In favor.
Trustee Dewar,
In favor?
Trustee Gibson,
In favor.
Trustee Honda,
In favor.
Trustee Cosmerly,
In favor.
Trustee Morrison,
In favor?
Trustee St. Jean,
In favor.
and Trustee Stringer.
In favor.
Carried.
Thank you very much, Director Blazek. Moving on to the next item, new business. TD Canada Trust Resolution. I'll call on Superintendent of Business, Bazinet.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This resolution is to provide direction to the financial institution to signing authority to this agreement to our manager of finance, Nancy Chiquetto, and to myself as superintendent of business. So essentially, it's a requirement from the financial institution.
Thank you very much. Motion that the TD Canada Trust Resolution as attached be deemed to have been read 3 times and be approved. Moved by Trustee Morrison, seconded by Trustee Cosmerly. Director Blazek.
Trustee Clement,
In favor.
Trustee Dubosky,
In favor.
Trustee Dewar,
In favor?
Trustee Gibson,
In favor.
Trustee Honda,
In favor.
Trustee Cosmerly,
In favor.
Trustee Morrison,
In favor?
Trustee St. Jean,
In favor.
Trustee Stringer,
In favor.
Student Trustee LaFrance,
In favor.
carried.
Motion is carried. Second item is short-term borrowing bylaw, and I will call on Superintendent Bazinet once again.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Essentially, this is the short-term borrowing bylaw that is seen annually. It allows the board to go out and borrow short-term funds for our major capital projects that are through our school condition improvement funding allocation of $13 million. So this is what you typically see every year as we are entering our heavy construction season in the summer months. And of course, any short-term interest costs are covered by the Ministry of Education as well. Thank you.
Motion that the short-term borrowing bylaw 2021-01 as attached be deemed to have been read 3 times and be approved. Moved by Trustee, I don't know who that is, Trustee Hunda, and seconded by Trustee Stringer. Trustee Gibson.
Thank you, Chair Dewar. I just wanted to ask through you to Superintendent Bazinet, is the reason that we use these financial instruments, is it a matter of timing from when we actually receive the funds? Is that the reason that we need to do this?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, essentially the way the funding of major capital project occurs is the Ministry of Finance essentially refunds the board for money spent. So therefore, we need to borrow these dollars as we progress with our projects because we're claiming the costs after the costs have been incurred. For our major capital, we do not get the funding in advance.
Thank you. And just supplementary, if I may, just correct me if I'm wrong. So then the funding is approved in principle. Obviously, we have those, you know, the announcement, the big check, that sort of thing. But that just gives us the permission to go out and spend the money and do the work. And then we submit everything we actually spent, including the interest, and we're refunded at that point. Is that correct?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, you're correct in your statements, Trustee Gibson.
Thank you very much.
Poll vote, Director Blazik.
Trustee Clement,
In favor?
Trustee DeBoski,
In favor.
Trustee Dewar,
In favor.
Trustee Gibson,
In favor.
Trustee Hunda,
In favor.
Trustee Cosmerly,
In favor.
Trustee Morrison,
In favor?
Trustee St. Jean,
In favor.
Trustee Stringer,
In favor.
Student Trustee LaFrance,
In favor.
carried.
Motion is carried. Next item of business is the Ontario Student Trustee Association Annual General Meeting. So we have backup that tells us all about it's going to be a virtual one this year. Shucks. But I'm sure there's lots of things happening and you will still get to meet lots of interesting people. Ava, Student Trustee LaFrance. So motion that the board approve the attendance of the Student Trustee LaFrance and the incoming Student Trustee at the virtual 2021 OSTA Annual General Meeting, May the 27th to the 30th, 2021. Moved by Trustee Hunda, seconded by Trustee Clement. Trustee Morrison.
Just quick question. Someone can remind me, where are we in the process for the selection of next year's student trustee?
Done.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we know, thank you. Just confirming. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Ava will reveal who that trustee is when she gives her report. Thank you very much. Anything else? Call the question. Director Blazek, poll vote.
Trustee Clement,
In favor.
Trustee Dubowski,
In favor.
Trustee Dewar,
In favor.
Trustee Gibson,
In favor.
Trustee Honda,
In favor.
Trustee Cosmerly,
In favor.
Trustee Morrison,
In favor?
Trustee St. Jean,
In favor.
Trustee Stringer,
In favor.
and Student Trustee LaFrance.
In favor.
Carried, unanimous.
Motion is carried. Request for leave of absence. There are none. Director's remarks. I can't believe. I'm not sure if you have anything more to say, but that earlier report was just excellent.
Yes.
Director Blazek.
Actually,
I'm
I have two.
almost looking at giving you the rest of the night off.
Thank you. I do have just two items. One is just, I just wanted to acknowledge, we received a, not sure if you're able to see this, an acknowledgement from the Terry Fox Foundation, which recognizes that last year we were able to collect again another 14,000 plus, even though it was a pandemic year, so that's quite incredible. But interestingly enough, Noah, since we've been doing this, we've raised over $900,000 to date for the Terry Fox Foundation. So I just wanted to share that with you. So I think that's just wonderful. The second piece, and this is regarding principal transfers. So I just wanted to announce those. We have 4 transfers effective for next year. So at the elementary level, we have Principal Jamie Mohammed transferred to Little Current Public School effective August 23rd, 2021. Sorry, I'm sorry. I read it wrong. Sorry, folks. Principal Jamie Mohammed transferred to CC McLean effective August 23rd. Principal Tracy Chapman transferred to Astiganac Public School effective August 23rd. Principal Heather Penny transferred to Little Current Public School as of effective August 23rd. And then finally, the secondary Principal Christy Case transferred to Manitoulin Secondary School effective August 23rd. Thank you for the correction. And that is it. I'm still kind of knocked off my pedestal here by your announcement, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Other items, the call on Trustee Clement as our OPSPA director. If you have anything to report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick one. We met, the Northern Board Directors met April 22nd. And again, we advocate for the North. And we drew up a letter that we sent to all, just like all the other boards did also, to the Ministry of Ed, our thoughts on their idea of e-learning and the direction that they were going. What else we got here? Also, we met then with the also board directors on the 24th, and also we wrote a lengthy letter there also. And what we were trying to do through OSPA would be to be able to consult with the ministry on our knowledge of e-learning and so on and so forth. And they brushed us off like nothing. It's like, we know this is a done deal, it seems, and they didn't want to hear from us, so we sent out a letter anyways. OPSPA has been having a great series, and I've seen some of you on there. We have a speaker series every once in a while, and we had Sean Monteith one day. He was really, really good speaking on First Nations, our FNAC. Another speaker was, what was her name? Teresa Macbeth. And it's people like this, I guess, like almost like consultants where we're going to be going back to school soon, and we'll be dealing these speeches around how to get ourselves set for the crisis that we're about to find out. there was a really good CBC survey that was on CBC radio a couple of days ago. They did a survey of teachers across Canada, and they had a lot of teachers answer the questionnaires. And if it's anything like the questionnaires, they're talking about our mental health is going to go through the roof. Hopefully, we'll be prepared for that. I think that's all I got here. Yes, that's all I have. Thank you very much. Oh, Judy.
Trustee, thank you, Trustee Clement and Judy. Trustee Cosmerly.
Sorry, I'm representing the Northern Boards on the OPSPA Project Compass Steering Committee. So I'm going to ask when we do the OPSPA presentations if I can just have a minute, because I'm supposed to share information as well. The Project Compass Steering Committee met last week. So this is an OPSPA group that's taking a look at well, they had a survey that was sent out. They're looking at how do we perceive OPSPA, what do they need to fix up, what's working well. So last week we met to discuss the survey results. There were 5 people from our board completed the survey. That's half of us, so that's awesome. So I just wanted to thank you for completing the survey. So right now what we're doing is looking at the data, and OPSPA is looking at having some kind of a presentation in the fall. So just a heads up that you can expect something coming in the fall to share the information from the survey results. Very good results. What was interesting was that there was very low trustee involvement with the website, with the members page. There were lots of questions about what is the members page and how do we get into it, and I never knew there was a members page. So obviously that's something that OPSPA has to take a look at. But there will be meetings continuing for the next little while as we look at how do we change things, how do we develop policies and procedures, because if you've ever gone on the OPSPA site, you'll see that there are none. There is a constitution, there's some bylaws, and there's things that are out in space. So we're trying to look at how do we sort of rein everything in and bring it into something that sounds cohesive. So I just wanted to let you know I will be making a report as well to the Northern Board of Directors so that everyone in the North has an idea of what's going on. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Trustee Cosmerly. Student Trustee Ava LaFrance, do you have some information for us?
Yes, thank you, Trustee Dewar. So at our last Student Senate meeting, we elected our incoming student trustee. He's going to be in grade 12 next year. He goes to Llewellyn, and it's Michael Yao. His sister was student trustee a couple years ago. Trustee Hunden knows her very well. Yeah, and we put out our applications for new student senators to apply, and we'll be looking at that on our June 7th meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee Morrison.
I just wondered through you, Madam Chair, to Ava, I just wondered if she was comfortable sharing just a little bit with us on what the Student Senate has done to try to involve Indigenous student voice. And I know there's been a number of efforts over the last couple of years, but I'm wondering, Ava, if you felt comfortable to share those with us.
Sure. We've had some discussion about getting more Indigenous students involved in our Student Senate. It was difficult this year because of COVID. A lot of our senators just kind of drifted off and didn't really come to the meetings. So next year we'll be looking at getting Indigenous senators, sorry. So yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Morrison and Student Trustee LaFrance. Trustees' remarks and questions. Trustee Hunda, I see, and Trustee Stringer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a moment. I would just like to add a little bit to our student trustee LaFrance's response to Trustee Morrison's question. Last year, we were much more fortunate to have very good Indigenous representation on the Student Senate. One fabulous young man who was Trustee DeBosge's son, and we taught us a lot. It was very, very entertaining and outspoken young man, certainly knows his stuff, and I think every one of us learned a lot from Pierre last year. And he was joined by, and I could never say her name, I'll be honest. Maybe if Trustee Mobile or Mobile and
her name is Nibishes.
Thank you.
Nibishes. Yeah.
Thank you. Wonderful young lady. Very outgoing and very eager to speak up. And so our representation last year was really great. We're just not able. So maybe we can get a little bit of help from Trustee DeBosge, and we can, do that again, because I think Ava would agree with me. And Superintendent Noble, we all learned a lot from them, and it's great to have that perspective. The other thing I wanted to mention just really quickly is I think most of us follow Facebook, and I just want to give a shout out to all our staff, all our families, and our students. Like every day, there's a school somewhere that's posting something very innovative and entertaining and wonderful that they have done during these unprecedented times, like from cooking adventures to arts and performing and all these innovative ways. And you see these little kindergarten kids doing these innovative numeracy activities and literacy activities with poetry, and the schools are posting all of these things. And I know for one, I look forward to them every day. I find them entertaining. I find it keeps me encouraged when I find that I get down a little bit. So I would just want to give a shout out to everyone. I mean, it takes certainly the staff. What wonderful ideas. I can't thank them enough. It takes the families or whoever happens to be taking care of the schooling at home, like Nanny, and there's the students themselves that are buying into it and enjoying it. And I just want to say thank you. And if you get a chance to watch it, do it, because I promise you it'll lift your spirits. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Trustee Stringer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of comments. One is that while we all know many of our families are struggling, not only with having their children learning remotely, but also with putting food on the table, Better Beginnings and Better Futures through the Student Nutrition Program and Gorbet Food Bank did a food drop last week. I know that the hope is that this would happen every Wednesday. It was coordinated, the schools coordinated deliveries to families in need. And it was bags of dried goods, cereal, granola, cold bag of cheese strings. The bags came in through Massey Wholesale and 50-pound bags of potatoes. So people volunteered to help put it into bags and deliver it to families. So just a big shout out to all of those that made the staff and Better Beginnings, Better Futures that made that happen. It's been a wonderful thing, and it sounds like they're hoping that this will take place not this Wednesday, but the next Wednesday again. One other thing, I know I've said this before, but it really does bear repeating, so I'm going to share again. A big thank you to the Little Current Fish and Game Club for their ongoing generosity in purchasing distribution of fishing rods for grade 4 students in Manitoulin, and a very sincere thanks to Bill Strain as he steps down from his role as president of the club since the 1990s. In 2006, Bill and his club members began introducing students to the harvesting of eggs for the walleye hatchery. It was a huge success, and this began an annual event for all grade 4 Island School students. Even though students have missed out this field trip over the past 2 years, the club, spearheaded by Bill, has continued to make sure that the students receive the rods and reels. So a very sincere thank you to the club, and especially to Bill for all his efforts as president of the club through the years. Thank you, Madam.
Much appreciate the input and the appreciation of all of the trustees. We join with you, both Trustee Hunda and Trustee Stringer, in saying a very sincere thank you to our partners in education. Trustee Morrison.
Sorry, I'll keep it very short. I apologize, I had my mic off. Thank you, Trustee Stringer, for mentioning the food drops, because I too have seen they've been distributed at several schools within my area as well, and I know they are hugely appreciated by families in need. So there's a lot of partners that have been involved trying to keep this together, and we know even schools had their own challenges in terms of trying to operate informal food banks, because you get into health unit issues and handling of food and storage of proper areas. So the involvement of the external agencies have been very helpful in this regard, making sure that we're getting nutritious food to families in need. So thank you for Trustee Stringer for reminding me of that. And in terms of Trustee Hunda's comment, I think I've mentioned this before, but if I haven't, I'll mention it again. My favorite little video from virtual schooling that has gone on was one that I saw in April, and it was early learning, year 1, year 2 kids, can't tell you, but they were 4 and 5-year-olds, and they had been sent out to videotape themselves into their yards to build leprechaun traps. And I'm sorry, I still laugh when I think about it to this day, especially the 5-year-old right at the end insisting that he caught 2. Can't you see them? So I loved it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Morrison. It's what keeps us going. The chairperson's remarks this evening. People, young and old, and everyone in between, are tired of the restrictions and the worries of COVID-19 times. But I must continue to be amazed when I hear about things that are happening in Rainbow Education. And that's what we heard about tonight. It was wonderful to recognize, excuse me, to recognize our many award winners. Their contributions, along with so many others, are the most meaningful investments in our future. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge some of the other partners in education. Our parents, guardians, and caregivers, the many grandmas and grandpas, the uncles and aunts, the older brothers and sisters, neighbors and friends, for all they have done and continue to do. Each one deserves a medal for their dedication to our young people. As most people know, Rainbow District School Board's Director of Education, Norm Blazek, is retiring. As a result, we are, the Rainbow District School Board, we are recruiting our next director. The board, through its Promeus search consultants, Marilyn Guthrow and Jordine Little, is developing a candidate profile for the Director of Education. As part of that consultation process, we welcome all partners in education throughout Sudbury, Espanola, and Manitoulin Island to share their input. For more information, please visit our website at www.rainbowschools.ca. The thought for the month comes from Henry Ford, who said, "Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success." Thank you very much. I'd like you to take a moment to take a look at the reports from officials and staff. There's the Special Education Advisory Committee minutes. We have non-staff communications. There is a list of the elementary and secondary graduation dates. Once again, we're going to have a virtual graduation. I know that this is not what any of us wanted, but it's going to happen. And I know that that our staff will come up with ideas, and we will have a wonderful opportunity to celebrate those graduating classes. Also, we have attached the letter to Premier Ford and Minister Lecce, dated April 26th. Take a look at the future meetings, especially the Parent Involvement Committee meeting that has the guest speaker, Kevin Cameron. I know we've heard from Mr. Cameron before. He's a wonderful speaker, and I know I'm going to enjoy listening again. The next board meeting is going to be June the 8th, and it will not be a strategic planning meeting. It will be a budget meeting. Motion that we do now adjourn, moved by Trustee Morrison, seconded by Trustee Cosmerly. I'm not going to ask for a full vote, Director Blazek. Once again, congratulations to all of the award winners, and we'll just wave goodbye and say good night. Thank you.